and I wanted to go over the handout, and all of these things here were painted I paint a lot of these small things because you can capture it. You can learn how to paint it. Even if you do a small thing like this, you can do several of them of the same one and rearrange the light, rearrange the composition, rearrange the palette, all those things. If it's something that you have this killer shot that you want to use as reference for a painting. Anyway, here's some of the stuff, and I wanted to go through the handout first because, hang on just a second. Hi.
Can we look around or?
No, you can look around. I'm zooming. I'm doing a workshop, but no, you're more than welcome to look around. Okay. Yeah, I forgot to tell you guys, this is open house today, first Saturday of the month. Anyway, so this is this is just a cover. And this is the purpose of this. That's the purpose of painting all these little comps, these little thummies, if you will. And that was just the palette. It's no different than your usual palette, except I have to tell you, you guys who are with me in class know that I have been using this, and John, you might be interested in this. I've been using this palette for quite a while now. And it's basically a split primary palette. I have yellow, red, and blue, and plus I have a Payne's gray, but I split that. I have a cool yellow, a warm yellow, a cool blue, a warm blue, a cool red, a warm red, and I can paint just about anything using those colors. So it simplifies the whole process. And this is the palette I'm going to use today because we're under a time crunch. So I have more colors and they're readily accessible. That's the reason I'm using this one.
I noticed that the previous one, what brand was that?
This is, I can send you the link for the palette. It's a nice little palette. It's only like $9.
Around it, right? It has an O-ring, so it keeps the.
Yes. Yes, I have several of these. This is Mejillo or something like that.
Right.
Mielljo or something. I can send you the link.
But that O-ring keeps it from leaking out. Is that correct?
Well, yeah, but you still can't lay it flat if you have fresh color.
Got it. Okay.
So we'll be painting a lot of these guys, and the painting in this 10 minutes, and I have my phone set for 10 minutes. 10 minutes start, and I'm going to stop it if I'm waiting for something to settle or to dry. And part of that 10 minutes is drawing. So that means that you have to block in the big shapes. I'm going to block in that big shape. I'm going to block in that big shape, that shape. Those are my primary concerns when I start this, and that's what I want to do. It's the same for all of these. So we have that one. We have this one. Some of you who've been with me, we've done this before, but we're doing it again. All these can be easily done in these are all, what I did was all 10 minutes. I extended that to 15 minutes to just get you used to this without, it's a little bit more comfortable. All these are in the sketchbook, and this is what my little 5.5 by 8.5 book. So I can knock these out in a hurry, and I can also do them 2 up on a page. Here's just little things that I had reference for. An apple on some books, some ducks, this light, these guys. Can I do a lion? Can I do a lion in a short amount of time? You'll hear me say probably 10 minutes. These can go a lot faster. I'll show you ones in a second, but here I did the books again, and on and on. And what I wanted to show you is because some of these, just a great way to learn how to do figures by just blocking them in. This took longer because I had to figure out the pattern. These two we're going to do today. It's part of the sheet. I did these a little bigger. They're very simple to do. This one's on the sheet, which is a great way to learn how to paint atmosphere without being fussy. These two guys are on the sheet. This was 8 minutes and 43 seconds for this one, and that was 4 minutes and 48 seconds. So that was 5 minutes. This was 9 minutes. So you get used to that. And once again, this is without the drying time. Stop your watch if you're waiting for something to settle and dry. Because if I wanted a defined edge there, I got to wait for it to dry. Otherwise, it's going to blow up. Same thing, I did it again. This guy is in your reference. That was 10 minutes, 10 minutes, a little over 10 minutes. 9 minutes, things like that. And you'll see that you're going to be able to do this a lot faster than you think. So it's actually quite fun. And here are, I'm going to be using a 9x12 pad. So here are some of the things off of this sheet, off of these reference sheets, which I'll also post. Here are more. They're not on the reference sheet, but you can certainly use your own reference. All these little guys are from when you get a travel magazine, they have all these little snapshots of stuff. Go to Alaska, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, these are great little reference things. Great little reference things for just doing these small guys. This is the size I'm going to be working today, so I can get 4 on a sheet. You can also do what's on your table right now. Here's more. Just to basically, it's a value. You will learn so much about values, what works, what's light, what's dark, what's mid-tone. Here's more. They don't take very long. It probably takes longer to draw these bottles. And this is actually one of my favorite ones because these really work. Oh, can I paint a bottle of Elmer's glue? It's a cool challenge. And I love the screwdriver. That's my favorite painting out of the bunch. These are just little quick color studies. This doesn't pertain to today. This one is, I made these bigger. This is that sunflower again. And this is very simple. I painted the whole background first. I had to let that dry before I start painting over the top of it. And so it goes by really quickly. And these are more. So it depends on the reference you have. A lot of these were all from travel magazines. There you go. There's the lighthouse down on the Carolinas. And these I'm not going to apply. I don't know why I put those in there, but anyway, so you can see that you can paint small. This is what, 2.5 maybe by 3.5 maybe. Anyway, I'm just going to take my page and I'm going to actually just quarter it off or tape it off so it fits. Does anybody have any questions about these guys? If you start blocking this in, oh, by the way, I'm only going to use 2 brushes, I think, for all of these. I'm going to use a big brush. This is not my biggest brush, but this is a big brush because I'm going to try to leave this brush on the paper, and for that particular color, I'm going to not lift my brush. I'm going to try to make one big shape as opposed to going here and then here and then here and then here. and then back again. And I'm going to use a small brush, small round and a big flat. That's what I'm going to do. You guys use whatever is comfortable for you. So I'm going to put these away, and these are even smaller. These guys are even smaller, but I could do a whole page of these, like some of them. That's a good size, because you can get all the stuff that you need into this size, and it goes quickly. And I'm going to get you guys started with this. We'll do a few of these, and then we'll take a short few-minute break to just refresh our coffee or whatever. And then we can yak about what we've discovered so far. And then you're more than welcome to go on your own with some reference that you have, just to see how it works. And again, I could take the same image, the same photo reference I'm using, and I could paint that several different ways. I could paint it every season. I have 4 seasons. I could paint it. I have different light. I could paint it early morning. I could paint twilight. I could paint a nocturnal. I could paint long shadows, short shadows, whatever I want to do. So I think to start with, I'm going to see if I can do it this way. These will go by fairly quickly, I think. I'm going to see if I can't get, I'm not sure I can. Hang on a second. Nope, I can't do it that way. I'm just going to split this page in quarters. That's pretty small for most people. They're used to painting at least quarter sheet or half sheet. So we'll just paint this size. It's like a 3x5 card. In fact, I've taken those when I could paint plein air. I've taken those before in the boonies, and actually done little Noton studies with them. And I am going to use Mr. Gravity, or excuse me, the Gravity Machine. I can't say Mr. anymore. It's the wrong wrong pronoun. Yeah, I know.
I'm really, I am a left-wing liberal, but I'm getting really tired of this woke stuff. And I mean, I'm way out there on the left, but some of this stuff is just ridiculous. There's more important things to worry about.
Maybe you could tell me something then, because
I don't know anything anymore.
On
So
my email list, on my emails from Cal Lutheran, which is
Uh-huh.
university, their signature now is they have the name and what their title is or whatever, and under
Uh-huh.
that they have she, her, and hers.
the Brentwood Arts Center is doing that too. And they,
So what the hell does that
what are
mean?
your pronouns? My pronouns are Majesty. You want a pronoun for me? Just call me Your Majesty. That's fine. I'm just, people are starving, people are dying, people are sick, and they're worried about the pronouns.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, that's it. I'm done.
Okay. No, I just wondered, what the hell? I guess I'm a her, him, and his. Or I guess I'm a he. What am I? He, him?
I refuse to do it.
Well, I don't do it because I don't know what the hell it means. So anyway, I'm going to try to set this up, and I've already gotten into, of course, every color that I get on my hands is either phthalo or Quinrose. I don't know how it works that way, but it does. So let me walk you through a simple one of these quickly, and I'm going to go move this guy over so I can bring up this handout. I think I want to use. I could use this one. We'll use this guy. How about that to start with?
Okay.
That's a kind of I think it's kind of an easy one. So some people say, oh, geez, that's pretty difficult to do and whatnot. But, and these don't have to be perfect. And I have to tell you, not all of these are going to turn out, but you're going to learn something from it. In fact, I would rather it not turn out, because then I learned something. I said, well, okay, what did I do? What could I do better next time? And I will show you guys a couple of things from a long time ago before this 10-minute stuff. And this is me. This is, I like being graphic. So, and you guys, some of you guys have seen this before. So that was done very quickly. I could certainly do that on location, plein air. And that's all I need. And I love doing things like this. I don't, if I had a full sheet, I'd still try to do it this way. And I don't think it would be as good because I have more paint to put on. And the same thing here. So this is what I'm after. And as you can see that I have a pretty good value range. That's a pretty good light, mid-tone, and dark. So that's kind of what I like. And you might be a little bit different painter. Let me get some water. I'll be right there. You guys taped up?
Yep.
Taped up, ready to go. So put me in, coach. That's funny.
Oh, hot press. I don't want a hot press.
By the way, I found out something interesting. Jerry, you are muted. I want you to push the space bar and say something. Just push the space bar. Okay.
Yes. You
Go
want me
ahead.
to say something? Uh-huh.
Okay, this is something I just learned. I didn't know, and I've been Zooming for 2.5 years.
Mhm.
If you mute yourself and you push the space bar, you can unmute yourself to ask a question and then go back to mute.
All right.
That saves a lot of hassle if you are at a desktop or especially. So anyway, I found that little trick.
Doesn't seem to work on the iPad.
And
Oh,
I
it
have
doesn't?
that also.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
Let me get
it
my
doesn't matter.
Yeah, let me get my reference, which is this little guy here. So this, the first thing I usually do when I paint anything is to put in my horizon line, and it's usually, I'm a rule of thirds, high horizon or low horizon. I don't like it in the middle. This one happens to me in the middle, but it works because these dark shapes down here pull it down, and this is muted back here. So what I'm going to do is leave it in the middle, and there's my horizon line. Whoops. I'll walk you through what I'm doing first before I start timing all this stuff. And so I see a shape here, and I see a shape here. I'm going to make that closer, and already I changed my mind because I want more space over here. So I did that very quickly. And then I have this over here, and then where's my light source? It's going to be right here. So that's how much time I spent drawing. So there's my boat. There's my one boat, and here's another boat back here. And I've got some people in the boat. And those are all I'm going to put in right now. I'm just drawing this as just very simple shapes. So there's my drawing. Already it looks like what my reference is. So that was my drawing. And if I started my my timer, I would have spent maybe less than a minute drawing that. So here's my timer, and I'm going to let it click off to a few seconds more. And then I'm just going to pause it, and don't put this next to your water bowl or your paint. It's easy to do. I've done it. Okay, so I'm going to pause it. Now, what color should I start with here? I'm going to paint light to dark, and I'm going to paint big to small, and I'm going to paint wet to dry. That's how I paint. And I don't think that you need any cameras. Cameras for me take too good of photos. In fact, John, when I was, my son and I were in the car going through the Shenandoah Valley, and I was clicking out the window, that was great reference for me because I don't care about the detail. What I care about is the illusion of detail, and that's what Nita Engel will teach you. So I'm not going to worry about the white. By the way, you all have permission to use white opaque, especially for what we're doing here. But I do see that I'm going to take my yellow and just to mix some up, just to get the paper wet and to get it going. And so there, my paper is wet. And for this one, I'm going to go all the way. So I'm going to give this a, Sarah, 1, 2, 3, 4 strokes. And now I'm going to take my gamboge and mix it with that, or my orange. I see that as a color. So I'm going to kind of make a, just painting what I see. And I'm not going to be too fussy about that with that at all. And now I see that I have this big sweep of orange coming in, and I actually see it coming down through there too. So I'm just going to leave that alone. I'm actually just going to leave that alone. So now I can pause my, oh, I forgot. Anyway, so this kind of already, it looks kind of like the feel of this, but I have to let that settle for a couple of minutes because I'm going to add some purple to that to neutralize it. I'm going to use this big brush as long as I can. So I've already got kind of some orange on there, but I want this, I want this hard line going through here. So I'm going to have to, and I can see that it's settling. It's going to dry from top to bottom because I'm using my gravity. And you're going to learn as much about timing with watercolor as anything else by just doing these. Why would I want to do this on a full sheet or a half sheet if I'm not confident in my ability to do this? And by the way, hair dryers for this are legal. As we get into as we get into it more, we've got plenty of time. Hair dryers are legal. I could even lay this flat because I know know that I'm going to get a little seep, but I don't want it to run down in this case. In fact, the first thing I'm going to do is just test out the color and go through there like that. And I kind of like that. And now I can go back and break up the top. There's my distant shoreline. And once again, these do not have to be perfect. This is kind of the lab we're going through. And that's going to dry a lot lighter. So I'm going to go through here with a little more dark. And I'm just going to use less water and more pigment as I go through. And you're going to learn from that too. So I'm actually blotting my brush off, and this is going to get, I've already can see that I think this is too much water on here. But I still like that distant shoreline. And once again, this doesn't have to be perfect. So I've kind of got that going. And now I have to, I really do have to let this kind of dry a tad. In fact, I'm going to hook up my hair dryer. I unplugged it getting ready for Reno, but I'm gonna hook it back up. Already, I think I'm starting to capture the essence of what I'm looking at. I still want the paper, for me, I still want the paper a little damp. And what I want to do is take some of this color. And now that the paper's a little drier, I'm going to make I'm just going to go through here, and I'm going to leave that up to that light source that I'm having over there. And I could at this point start putting in a couple of those if I wanted to. This is a fabulous way to learn the timing of this watercolor, how watercolor works. Got a lot of depth. And now I'm going to have to, I wish my phone would not go bye-bye. I think I've achieved kind of sort of what I was going after, and I'm just going to mix a dark. And I'm actually using ultramarine and burnt sienna to do that, even though I have Payne's gray. I just want to make a little test here. Now that's going to work okay. So there's my boat. And I'm just going to try to put that in a couple of strokes. And here's a figure on here. And here's another figure. This guy sitting up on the bow here. And they've got something going on. Doesn't have to be perfect at any means. And then I can just take a little bit of that color and with my finger, for a couple little reflections, pulling down. Take a little white paint. There's my sun. I'm going to mix a little bit of my white paint with some of my transparent yellow, and I'm going to make it gouache. I'm going to make it opaque watercolor. And I'm going to strengthen this horizon line just a little bit. I love painting fast because you learn so much by doing this. You do not have to angst over stuff to get the effect, the feel of it. And I think I'm pretty close to being within my 10 minutes. Or 15 minutes, excuse me. So that's just my little indication, and I think that looks fairly decent for what I'm trying to accomplish. Yes, I can go back and I can touch stuff up. I can do that, but I learned a lot from just painting this. And I've painted this several times, and I still learn each time I paint. Each time I paint anything, I'm going to learn. And how could I make this better next time? Could I change the position of the sun? Could I add another boat? Could I leave a boat out? Could I put one in? Could I change the shoreline? Could I put some palm trees? Could I put some mountains? Whatever. As long as I have this palette, this is another very simple one, this guy right here. I'll bring it up. This one you can put any place you want. I added some branches of trees to do this with. I made it into a little more of a setting, I think. I'll see if I can find that real quick. Yeah, I made that into more of a setting like that. You can do whatever you want with it. That's the benefit of painting these guys this way, is that here's another one. That's the benefit of painting these guys this way, because you're the master of the universe. I keep liking to say that. Yes, I didn't get enough orange according to the reference, but I don't care. I got what I wanted out of this. And so this reference for this park bench, I don't even have to draw this. I really don't really have to draw this yet, but because it's the same palette, I'm going to, in fact, I'm going to do it down here. It's the same palette we've been just got done using. And I'm going to try to make that into a glow in the middle there and put some stuff happening in the foreground. So it's got a little bit more mystery in it. And I'm basically just letting watercolor do its work. I'm going to use my contaminated palette and put a few something's going on in here. That's actually kind of interesting. There we go. Forgot to move my phone on that one. And I think what I want to do is, I know I have this static park going on down here. In fact, I'm just going to put that in for right now. See how much depth that gave that just by putting that in. And I could at this point, if I wanted to and was paying attention to my time, this just lets me try stuff. And now once that is dry, I can just put this guy sitting on the park bench, this person sitting on the park bench, and it's just like the boats at the end. I'm kind of done with it. By the way, try to keep this within the time allotted. You can always go back. It's always allowed to go back and play with it later. But I want you to see how much you can get done, how much you can really get done in a short amount of time. For instance, this guy right here, if I said, oh, okay, I could make that sky a little more dramatic and that light source a little more dramatic. So what I'm going to use is my fine mist water sprayer, the Atelier. And I'm just going to give this a quick shot. And I don't want it's not a spray bottle, it's an atomizer. It's a fine mist. So I'm just going to go like that, right across there, right across the top. And I could have used my hand, but I'm not doing that much with it. So if I wanted to make that sky more dramatic, I'm going to go like this. And soften out this edge, do a little washout. And so I can go back into that and do that to it. Besides, this is just this is playtime anyway. I think what I'm going to do while I have this, while this is drying, I think I'm going to just put some something that looks like trees in there, but those are going to be way in the distance, because once I start putting in this dark, it's going to be push that way back. For instance, that's going to be not even dark enough yet, but I don't want to get it too dark. I still want it to have a little bit of color in there. So there's my, there's what that's sitting on. And then I can go back and I can rough that up into some kind of a shape. That looks a little more natural. And then I can use my fingernail or whatever, and I can go put that in. And once I do that, I'm going to use that silhouette. As a part of this. And what this is really, it's just a some lines going back and forth. That's enough, as long as it somewhat looks like a bench. And then the figure is actually pretty easy. I'm going to actually put that right in the middle. And that's going to go on down because they're sitting on the bench. And there's a foot, and maybe there's another foot. And this is still a little damp right here, so I have to be kind of careful. I don't want to make the head too big. In fact, you know what I think I'll do is I'm going to make somebody sitting next to him. Kind of enjoying the evening scene. And now I can put a darker it's kind of fun. I master the universe, right? I'm going to use some ultramarine and burnt sienna and make even a darker dark up here. And maybe even a little shadow under there. Actually, now that I see that, I'm going to raise those people a little bit, because that bench is awfully big. There we go. So much fun playing with this stuff. In a very short amount of time, we've created 2 paintings. Love spatter. So I'll give you guys a few minutes. You'll be surprised when you take the tape off of these, how good they look. I'm talking about yours, not mine. But if I had one word to use for this, it would be Joey Z uses the word indicate, don't state. And I think indicate, because I've done a lot of storyboards and I've done a lot of magic marker storyboards. So all we're trying to do is indicate stuff. We're not trying to do a finished piece of art as far as illustration, commercial art goes. We're just trying to suggest stuff or indicate stuff. And that's all I'm trying to do here. And I'm trying to let the watercolor finish it off for me, to add the detail, if you will, to suggest stuff. And we are going to, I do want later on, I want to show you that I can paint the flower in 10, 5, and 3. I'm going to try that. I saw that on an Andy Evenson video, and I'd seen it before someplace. But anyway, I think it's a pretty good tool. I think it's a pretty good practice tool to use as far as your brushstrokes, being efficient with your brushstrokes. Let's put it that way. How you guys doing? Doing okay?
Oh, this is fun.
Oh, it is fun. And, you know, it's like next. It's, I could put out a little page like this, and if I only had 15 minutes to paint between phone calls or meetings or conferences or Zooms or whatever, I could knock one of these out, because I have, it doesn't take much. I have to get fresh water, that's all. And then I can try something. Oh, what if I tried this? What if I tried that? Ah, yeah. And what I learn almost all the time about this is timing and ratio of pigment to water. Oh, it's too light. I thought it was perfect, and now it dried and it sucks because it's too light. So anyway, and you get this practice of, now I got to draw a boat. Darn, how do I do that? And now I got to draw a figure. How do I do that? A park bench. How do I do that? I got to draw a tree. So you get all this practice in here. Okay, I'm going to do a couple more. And because I've already got my palette mixed up, I'm going to do a bullseye. I'm going to practice my Nita Engel bullseye. And so I'm just going to wet I'm going to wet this whole thing. And I'm going to let that settle for a second. And I'm going to again start with my yellow. And I see where this light source is about right here. And I can put that in gouache later. But for right now, I'm just going to make a yellow circle about right there. And I'm going to start surrounding that with orange, red. And I'm going to start surround that with kind of a alizarin, kind of a red purple. And then I'm going to go to purple. So you see how that's forming that light source? Now I'm going to put a little blue up here. I want it to be stronger. There you go. That's pretty cool the way that forms that light source. In fact, I'm going to take that right now and I'm just going to use a Kleenex and I'm going to just
Whoa.
blot that a little bit. So now I've got and I've got kind of a cool light source. And of course, that's going to dry lighter, of course. And I've got this red coming across here. So I'm actually just going to put red right through there. And I want that to stay fairly bright because I'm going to be going over it. So there's kind of my start. And that's a fun start I think. In fact, it's more dramatic than this. And that's great. I want it to be. So now I want to let this dry. And then I can go back and I can lift and I can soften, I can do all that stuff. But right now, I just want the watercolor to make me look good.
Hmm. Red.
Just it makes these other guys look dull while it's wet.
Red. Oh my God.
This is a great little size to paint. So that didn't take very long to do. That took 3 or 4 minutes, maybe, I think. So I'm still going back and use my big brush, and now I'm going to start putting in some of these things back there. And I'm going to use purple with my raw sienna again. I just want some kind of a warmer kind of color, and I'm going to put some of this in up here first. Oh, that's actually a pretty good color. It's a pretty good value. When I say color, every color has a value. So that can be going there. And then I've got a darker something in here. A little smushy, some stuff happening. Doesn't really make any difference as long as I want some of that red to pop through. And again, I'm trying to do the efficiency of strokes. Going to use the side of my brush here to get to some of this dry brush effect, this texture. Use the corner of my brush going back and forth just a little bit to get some smaller detail. Some darker dark to give it some space. And as the paper dries, it's going to get better. I do like some of that red popping through there. It's kind of cool. And I'm going to make this one little hill here a little darker. Hey, we've created a little scene here. Yeah. Kind of fun. Oops, no worries. Just gonna blot it, wash it out. Watercolor is forgiving. Actually, I kind of like that the way it is. There's my white hot light. And I can go back and I can mix that white with my red now, and I can make it opaque. Make it just like gouache. And now I can go back and I can add a few little sky holes if I want. Let's see, there's one there, and I could make another one there. Some little stuff happening in here. Oh, that works great. Little spots down here. Done. So that was the Nita Engel bullseye. And it's in her book, and it's really kind of a cool little technique. You can do it much more controlled than what that was, but you get the idea, I think. I'm taking a chance here, but I'm going to miss this one little part in the corner here. I'm going to darken that to make that even more dramatic. I'm looking at it on the monitor. It looks quite different than it does on the paper. But and give that a little washout. Even more dramatic. Dramatic. I love to try stuff, as a lot of you guys know. But when you try stuff, go in it with confidence. Do not just try stuff and don't tip your toe in the water. Just go for it. And then wait, see what happens. Shirley, I know you've painted this one before, but we're going to paint it again. Or we're going to do it in 10 or 15 minutes. And I'll show you a little trick to doing this guy. And once again, I can use kind of the same palette I've been using. I'm going to try to mix up a light. I'm going to use yellow first to go right through here. I'll wet the paper. I'm wetting the paper with my color. And add a little orange right through here. I'm trying to keep this horizon kind of low. And I just want to create a, and I'm going to use that using a alizarin, which is kind of a magenta color, maybe a little Quinn Rose. I want to do kind of a pinky kind of color. And then that's going to go into cobalt. Oops, wrong color. Want that to be purpley. Anyway, don't worry about any of this stuff because it's all going to be covered up. I want a little bit of, I'm going to exaggerate this because I'm master of the universe. I'm going to make a little brighter orange through there. Cool. That's why I like using these big brushes, and don't worry about any of the rest of this because a lot of this is going to be covered up. And once the workshop's over, you'll look at these things tomorrow or the next day or next week or this afternoon or whenever, and then you can go back and you can fix little stuff. But for now, just try to keep yourself from doing that. Just see what it gives you. Look at it later. Yes, I'm going to put this guy in I'm going to detail this up a little bit, or I'm going to put some palm tree, or I'm going to do whatever, a couple more little light holes in there. But right now I'm just trying to capture essences of stuff. Now, whatever I'm painting up here, I'm going at the same time, I'm going to be painting the reflection down here. So I'm going to follow that shape. And I'm doing it with the big brush strokes. If that's going that way, this is going this way. And I'm not worried about that atmosphere line at all. Just blocking in color. Actually, I'm just blocking in shapes. I'll let that set up for a couple minutes. I'll show you my little ruler trick again. So I'm going to use my ruler as a straight edge. And I think I want to start about right here. In fact, I am going to start right about there. And I'm going to make a line going across about that much and not really on the other side, but there's where my little castle or whatever is. And so now I can put my trees in. But when I do that, I don't want to start putting in little trees. I'm going to put in a big shape. And I'm going to put in that same shape down here. And I'm not going to be concerned with the atmosphere. I see those trees kind of take a dip and then they go back up. So that's what I'm going to do on both sides of this. And then maybe a little tree and maybe a little tree. And it's just reversed on what's on the other side of this. And then I can go back and I can put some things along the edge to make it look like a tree line. That's all I'm after. I want to take efficiency again, efficiency of brush strokes. And now I've got this little island here with this steeple on it. And so I put that there. Now I'm going to put this right through here. And I think I have some little roof shapes. I just kind of goofed up, but. And then I have this steeple, this whatever this tower is. Doesn't have to be exact. And I want to emulate that down below. There's my reflection. It's kind of cool. Something happening way on this shoreline, way over here. It's going to be a little darker. And I can go back with that gouache that I had before and add a little bit in here where I kind of goofed up that tree line or that roof line that I wanted to get. That's a little better. Little light on this side of the tower. And I'm not sure if that's dry enough yet. I know we're going pretty helter-skelter here, but I'm going to try a little dry brush. Yeah, that'll work. There's a little tree. There's a little tree. A little dry brush start of it. And then I'm going to use my ruler again, and I'm going to just split those in half. I've got a clean, damp brush. So I'm going to split that in half, and I'm just going to lift some paint going right through there. So that's going to give me my atmosphere. that little line that was going through. I'm going to use a little paint over that to make it a color. And really, in a very short amount of time, we have kind of figured out how to indicate this. Here's just a little paint to touch it up a tad. I'm going to put a little bit of red in here someplace, just for a little attractor. Maybe one of those, it's a tile roof or something back here. So I could do that. Make it a little more interesting. Whatever I do up top, I got to do down below. So I'm indicating it. It's almost like I'm using markers or something to indicate this. Maybe that's why I like flat brushes instead of rounds, but who knows? And I'm just going to give this a little, because I've got some pink up here, I'm just going to give that a little pinky twinge. But anyway, very quickly, we've captured that. I mean, we haven't taken much time at all to paint any of these. But I think you'd be surprised that it's going to look a lot better than you think. And it's going to get you in the attitude of, I don't need to labor over stuff. In fact, it's better if I don't. I can actually have a better painting if I let watercolor do some of the work. And I have proper fundamentals, light to dark, big to small, wet to dry. And then in these especially, I have a gouache to work with. So I can go back and I can fix stuff. Now once I got the tape off, I can look at these and say, oh yeah, I could do this, I could do that, I could add a little, subtract a little, whatever. Anyway, so now we've got a nice little set of things, of ideas that you could use for future paintings. Oh yeah, I want to combine something, but I'm indicating stuff. Does that make sense? I know you're all muted, but does that kind of sort of make sense?
Yes.
And these are just little ideas for paintings. And it's good practice. In fact, it's great practice to do these little guys. This is like muscle memory. When you do a larger painting, you'll say, you know, it worked a lot better when I took 3 brush strokes instead of 10. And I remember that my color looked great while it was wet, and then it dried out and it was not so great. So I need a little more pigment. Things like that. And the timing of everything, how it dries. And these are just fun. I mean, look, a Saturday morning and we've already done 4 paintings. And as I said before, some of you are going to like more than others. And some turn out, not all of them turn out. It's like life. Yeah.
Yep.
Yep. Going to warm up my coffee.
Can we take a 5-minute break?
Oh, yeah, let's break for 10 minutes.
Okay.
You can finish these up, get some coffee. I'm going get rid of some and things like that. So, by the way, I want to show you something when we get back. I'll tell you about it. Maybe not for these two, but you can also just use a colored pencil and go back on these. Anything goes with these guys. And so that would free you up just for confidence. You can go fix anything. You know, use colored pencil, use gouache, you can use a little bit of pastel, you can spatter some more, you can do whatever. Couple here early who walked around. But I was in the middle of that, so. Oh, wow. That's pretty cool. Yeah. You got one?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I just want to ask.
Oh, yeah.
It's good or
Yeah.
not.
No, no, no. Yep. All right. You working today or are you just here for the open house? You're putting it off. You're procrastinating. Okay, I always carry this with me. It's just a white pencil. So for example, and I don't know if I need a bunch of it, but if I just wanted to break this up just a little bit to get a little bit more of a sunlight going through there, I can do that with just these little sky holes. I can also shade with this. I can scratch in some more. Maybe I have some highlights on some branches to sparkle up the tree. I could put a couple little glints on here. The same with this sun coming in. Maybe these guys have a little bit of that helps. Look at that. That's pretty cool. So you can do a lot with this. Maybe this tree has a little light on it. Maybe there's my roof that's back. Just stuff like that. It's kind of cool. So these are, I will keep these for later reference or whatever. Kind of fun. This is really fun with painting with watercolor. And I could go back and adjust values. I think these are the darkest up here. This pushes it back. This stays in front of that. It certainly shows what I intended to do, this kind of an atmosphere thingy. And the park bench, I think, is more interesting than the reference. I like this wet and wet back here and the suggestion of this sparkly stuff happening. And so, yeah, I could go back. A lot of the things aren't perfect, but they're good enough for me. And most importantly, I got some miles on me. I got some brush miles. I painted several different things. So I had several different challenges. So. And does anybody have any questions about the process? Big to small, wet to dry, light to dark. And that's also gonna affect your edges. Like what I want to be a hard edge, what do I want to be a soft edge? That's on the list, and it's high on the list. It's not top of the list. Design and drawing are the top two. I put this couple on the bench right in the middle, but I made it off balance. We're putting this tree over here so it drags it to the left. The same with these boats. The same with this horizon line right here. So anyway. I know we're on a short break, but.
Hopefully a show.
Next.
Yes.
I for sure want to paint this while we're doing it because it's negative painting. And I also want to paint this. How do we figure out how to do that? We can paint that sea turtle if you want. We could also paint this. We could paint any of these. We could paint this also about just the rays breaking through. Very simple one to paint. And I'm going to stay to this size. Because I think we can get more done. That's pretty good. Hey, yay. Ready to go.
That might fall out.
Let's see what we got going on here. Oh, Joe, you know those Ember cups?
Yes.
So we had to buy another one. Roger put one of them in the microwave.
Oh, geez.
You know, just sort of absent-mindedly making tea or something and just stuck it in there to boil the water and said, oh no, this isn't gonna work.
That kind of fried everything, didn't it?
Yeah. So, c'est la vie.
I'm sure he's not the first.
No, probably won't be the last in our house even.
No.
You know, you do so many things unconsciously, you're just doing it, you know, and then you don't think.
I get it. Yeah, I've also, when I use the coffee maker, I also forgot to put the cup under. And my son did the same thing. I said, oh my God, he's just trying to make me feel good.
Yeah.
So anyway, I thought this would be kind of fun to take a shot at. And then I would definitely want to do one of these and this. And then I definitely want to do something that is an object like, we'll do, I want to absolutely do the flower, but we're going to do a couple of verticals during this city scene, which is it's indicative, and this beer.
Okay.
So,
But we're gonna start with the turtle.
yeah, I think the turtle might be a good break, especially for your palate.
Okay.
You can get out your phthalo.
I hate phthalo.
I love it. Andy Evenson was asked in one of his workshops if they made a non-granulating cobalt blue, and he said, "I hope not." Or no, it was cerulean, a non-granulating cerulean blue, and he said, "I hope not." Which I thought was funny. So this one I am going to put myself on the clock. So I have the turtle. I'm looking at it. And so I have my clock. And I have it set for 10 minutes. I'm going to see what I can do in 10 minutes. And it includes the drawing, but I'm taking a timeout for the drawing time. So I'm going to push start, and there it goes. So I see I have this shape in here, and I have this turtle shape, and I want to make an ellipse right here. It's too big. I want to make that to be my ellipse, and then I can go ahead and round off the edges to make it more turtle-like. And then I have this head sticking out with this angle, and then I have a flipper, And another flipper. And these two guys back here. And this one's going to go kind of off the page, huh? So there, I've drawn my turtle. That's I'm fairly happy with where that's placed on the page, and I drew it in. Whoops. Well, it says I took a minute and a half, but I was lagging. So there's my minute and a half turtle. And I don't need to draw all the stuff that's on the shell for right now. Anyway, what do I paint first? The turtle or the background? Huh. You could do both. I think I'm going to paint the turtle first because I want to leave some white edges. I want to leave some some highlight edges, and I can control that when I paint that blue background. I can see it a little bit better. So that turtle,
I'm not at R1, I'm in the gallery and I'm like.
that turtle is going to start.
I'm not set up yet. So take your time and keep.
That turtle is going to start
It's for painting for meetup.
with orange. I'm going to just whap in some orange, and I'm going to try to leave. I'm just going to paint most of it. I'm going to try to leave an edge on it.
We're close. We need a roaming tour guide, don't we? We genuinely do.
And yeah, we've got people in here.
Right.
And anyway, I'm going to put a little bit. I'm just going to paint what I see, kind of, sort of.
But did you get this from Christine or did you get?
Even though I'm going to overpaint some of it, that's okay. At least I'm trying to get the shape in there. And I think that I'm going to use some alizarin with that. And I'm just going to go around the edge. There's a little edge. And I'm going to leave that neck. I can go back and I can fix a lot of this stuff with gouache later on. So there's no worries.
A confirmation that anyone was coming. They usually are supposed to. Well, I didn't see an email that came to me from Meetup.
I'm just trying to block in some shapes.
Yes. There are several galleries.
Starts to look like a turtle, kind of, sort of. Going to lift a little bit, lift a little bit, lift a little bit. And I think I'm going to use purple instead of, I'm going to use some purple with that. I don't want to use black. I want to use something that stays kind of colorful. I see I have a little dark around this edge, and I'm painting this as it's drying. So it's actually kind of interesting that way. So I want to show some form.
Yeah, send me an email, then I get your email.
Couple little, while it's still damp, so it dissipates just a little bit. And I see that this is fairly dark up here. It's fairly dark up here. And then I've got a little dark on the head right here. And some spots, some turtle spots. And that's kind of dark. And then this gets pretty dark over here. I'm just following what the reference is telling me.
Huh.
And a little spot, a little dark. Starting to look like a turtle, kind of sort of. I haven't figured out everything yet, but it's starting to look turtle-ish. And I think I'm going to just start with my brush, drawing in some of the shell detail. I just want to make sure the shape looks fairly right. I know it has that little fluted edge on the.
Check my dress. I was so upset because I didn't want to question. She made the same dress after.
That turtle is a little darker than the background. And I can go back and I can add some of these lines and whatnot later on, but I just want to put them in here for a reminder right now. I want to make it look like a turtle. So anyway, so I've done a little more than half my time. Half my time.
This one is paint, so it's different.
I think I'm going to add, put a little red in here too. I'm just trying to figure out what colors to use, but now I don't really have to let that dry because I'm painting around it, right? So I'm going to start with my phthalo. And I'm going to actually, I have in this palette, I have some cobalt teal. So I'm actually going to start there. And I'm going to try to leave a little bit where I see around the edge. I see a little bit of a highlight around that edge. And I'm just trying to fill this in so it stays wet. In fact, I'm going to use my gravity machine. And I'm going to do that and make sure that I have a little white left along the edge and a little highlight on top of that. Back to efficiency of brush strokes. And I want to make sure that some of this still stays damp because I'm going to drop some color into it. So I see that it does have kind of a little highlight around this edge. So I'm making sure that my strokes are very efficient. There. Now I can start dropping in some other color. I can actually use my phthalo now. I can drop in a little bit of color that's happening. And again, I'm just trying to make it interesting. I think that's going to be a little bit too distracting, so I'm going to kill this a little bit along there, just enough. And maybe I'll use a couple of little darks. This is kind of a bigger shape down here. It makes it a little more interesting. maybe a little bit to carry that through, maybe a little spatter, maybe a little whatever. And I'm going to, actually, I'm going to pick up some color along this edge right here. Actually picking up a color, look at the beautiful little textures that makes, that wet and wet, it breaks it up slightly. I might even get a, oh, you can come, oh, you're what? Oh, you can come up. Usually I have that on the monitor. So anyway, there's a pretty good start on the turtle, and I've got about 3 minutes left. And so now I want to, I gotta have that dry just a little bit, but now I can go back with a little white paint if I want to, and put in some little detail. And I want to make sure that the little neck here goes there and there. I've got a couple little things here. And I need a little highlight, maybe right here. And then I think I left enough around the edge of this. And all we're trying to do is indicate. We're not trying to state anything. We're trying to indicate. So now I'm ready to put in some darks, which I really haven't done yet. So.
I want to ask you for classes.
I'm on Zoom right now, but I'll be with you in a second. I'm actually doing a workshop.
Do you do local? Do you do workshop here?
I do live workshops next
Yes.
weekend. I'll have a live workshop doing the same thing.
Okay.
So you can send me an email off that card
Uh-huh.
if you want to, and I'll respond. I'll give you the times
Okay.
and the information. But yes, next weekend's going to be live here doing the same stuff.
What is the same stuff?
We already did this morning. We painted
Oh,
this morning already.
For
We're doing paintings in 10 to 15 minutes. It teaches you so much by doing it fast. I want to.
I'm interested in acrylic painting.
Huh?
Acrylic painting.
Acrylic.
oh, God.
This is all watercolor, but I do acrylic too. Those are all acrylic. I'm sorry.
You will have workshop for acrylic.
Yes, I teach acrylic.
I will be interested in acrylic because I have so much acrylic paint.
Just you know.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, so what I'm going to do with this is I am not going to use paint. I'm going to use my Sharpie. And I'm going to put in my darks that way, just to show you that you don't need to all paint all the time. So I have some shapes up here. Look at that. Look at that nice separation. The Sharpie works great with this. And I've got a little along this edge. It's kind of serrated. And then I can actually define some of my shell shapes. That works pretty good, actually, I think. There's a little shell shape.
Yes, I wanted to do. Because I like fabrics. Oh, yeah. On rice paper and paper to paint onto canvas. Right. How do you use the spray?
we are, at least I am pretty much done with my turtle. I think that's probably enough. Uh, from
The
the stand-
Sharpie is,
from the
I was gonna say
stand-
this-
Sharpie works great. It's like the white pencil. You can go back and
yeah.
do that. I'm just going to rough up a couple of these little things with, I'm going to use the side of my brush just for a little texture that's happening. There's a little texture that's happening. So that could be my turtle.
The Sharpie's terrific.
Yep.
Never would have occurred to me.
Yeah, I can design with the Sharpie. So because I'm indicating anyway. So why not?
You know, I had that piece for a while.
Oops. I'm going to use just a tad of white paint just to get some of that back. I want just a couple of little indications around there, and maybe a little highlights. I could do this same thing with a colored pencil, a couple little highlights for the shell, and in no time you can make a pretty interesting. That didn't take too long. I have a little better,
White guys.
I can make a little better blend right to here, I think.
That's not gonna
Yeah.
work. What's this? No, not that. No, like charcoal pencil.
Anyway, so I did my job if it looks like a turtle. I think it looks enough like a turtle, a sea turtle. And you can go back and putz later. And I know I'm being a jerk and I'm rushing you guys, but that's okay. And boy, oh boy, it looks so much brighter on the page than it does on this. I have to break down and get a camera that actually, I know what I could do. I could brighten it up a little. That's it. That's a little better. Yeah.
They say, in your core, I said, where's my core? I don't have that. You know, it's stronger than the whole pinch that we're on today. So he said, just squeeze your butt and walk a little bit like this. Now, this, I squeeze my butt and breathe it, and then I walk a whole night jogging without breathing. We're just learning all these things.
I'll take a little bit of my white and mix it with the orange. Just so I can get a few little sparklies. That's the great thing about gouache and Sharpies and colored pencils, pastel, any of that stuff. So I want to paint this guy, And so the first thing I'm going to have to do is put in some kind of a background, and I'm just going to paint light to dark, wet to dry, big brush. And this one I can paint the whole thing because I'm just painting the background right now. In fact, I just saw something that I want to correct. Is that's too prominent. There you go. I corrected it. How about that? And this one is just a straight background. And actually, I think what I want to do is I want to dry that right away. That's just a yellow. In fact, I'll even punch it. I'll punch this one up a little bit more. There's a yellower up there, Gambogi.
Let's see, where is that? Oh, there it is. Hmm.
I think that's dry enough. I think we could say that's, and I'm going to make this a little bit different than the reference. I'm actually going to add some atmosphere going on back there. And I'm just twisting the brush to get kind of a some kind of cloud shape. And I can go all the way down to the bottom. I think I'll even put some through there. And so now I'm dealing in graphic shapes, which is what I like. So the big deal for this one is going to be going through and doing the buildings in the back first. So again, I have to dry this. And I think I'm just going to put in a lot of those buildings with, I'm going to mix up some burnt sienna and just something that's kind of warm. Going to mix, I just want something that's warm, and I'm going to just follow the reference. So I see a little bit of a hill coming in like back there. And I'm not going to try to paint any of the atmosphere yet, but I can paint this going all the way across, and I see there's a little something happening there. I can paint this all the way across. I'm painting this in layers, and I can see that I can put a couple little buildings back here, and there's a little spire back there, and maybe something that's round back there, because that's what this painting's kind of all about. So the values are very important on this one. And here's another, it's got a spire on it. I'm still using this big brush. There's something else growing that's going on through there. And I'm just going to make that a little darker. I'll just add a little purple to that. Keep it on the warm side. This whole thing is kind of warm. And I'm just going to start creeping forward, because that's a little bit different value now. I'm getting a little darker, and I'm going to get darker along the bottom here. One stroke will do it.
Just a few days I finished it.
And I'm just blocking in a couple of shapes where I think that this is going to be necessary. And now I'm going to go dry this.
The chocolate star in the back. So the first one,
And now I can use that same color I was just using. So now I'm going to put in these twin tower thingies and see if I can still use this big brush. Again, I'm just indicating.
So let's see, where is the, dog?
And I'm actually putting a second layer of paint over what I just did.
It's a girl. Yeah, it was fun.
And I can do anything I want as long as it kind of sort of looks architectural. Put these little guys down here. Couple of these little steeples. 3 amigos over here. So we're starting to get there, and it's starting to look like the reference we're using. It's kind of cool. I'm going to use just to make this just a little bit darker. In this case, I'm using purple to make it darker. I'm actually using Imperial Violet. I'm kind of following the reference, but I'm not being a slave to it.
And which one you like?
You see, I have something dark over here, darker.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm going to even get a little darker. Same 2 colors.
Is it a commission?
She said she would pay me for it. And she asked me to pay it. And when I was doing it, I was worried that her husband what she wanted. So that's why I did 3 of them. Then she goes like, okay.
See, that's the whole thing now. I feel that's not just I think that sometimes they don't even know what they yeah, that they are so happy that I feel so happy. And then when they
While that's still kind of sort of damp, I'm just going to take a Kleenex and Go through here. There's my light source, maybe up there.
Surprised they asked how much. I don't know. 'Cause right now, the worst thing is I couldn't
Again, I'm just indicating.
really need to work. In the, at that and that's why we, housing, that's why
I'm going to mix a little of my gamboge with this and just use a little wash on here. And I'm going to let that go off. I'm just going to let it go all the way through, wet and wet. And I'm actually painting and lifting at the same time. Can get some pretty cool effects by doing that. And you can also, so I'm painting and lifting at the same time. I'm going to lift a little bit down here between these two buildings and not go back and touch it too much. And I do have a couple little hot spots. Just do that. Maybe a little hot spot down there. Just to sparkle it up. Add a little mystery to it, especially with something like this. You can do this pretty easily.
And every time that
And that's pretty much going to do that one. For me, it is. And then I can also go back once that's dry with my white pencil and just a couple little hints. I'm going to use my white paint again. I'm going to mix it with that gamboge color. And I see I have a couple little, maybe that would be kind of cool to put these little light holes in there. And let's try that and that. Maybe a rooftop. We'll add a little bit to this. Why not? We're masters of the universe.
it's very vulnerable for him. That's why I said, if I get it, probably, I don't even know if I have it or not. Because sometimes I wake up, I want to call. Dennis is already.
It's probably enough. Oops. Didn't know I was out of frame. Sorry. I got excited.
Don't need to go to the hospital.
but they were just
Because I've seen my neighbors happen. And I would go to her mom had it, and mom lost it. She has kidney problems. And my neighbor got over it. And I told her to get some groceries for her. I just put it in the front door. Get her medicine.
Anyway, so it was a bunch of graphic shapes on top of each other, and I let them dry between, and then I wiped it while it was still wet while I was putting it on here. And then I used color. I'm going to use gamboge. And what I did was I lifted it. So there's gamboge. And I just kept painting on it. So I'm actually lifting at the same time. So it's quite effective. I'm lifting, but I have color on my brush. It's kind of fun.
It's funny, I hate doing architecture and I almost wasn't gonna do this. I was just gonna do something else. But I'm quite glad I'm doing it.
Good.
Yeah. Buildings, anything involving cleared perspective, I hate.
This isn't really perspective. This isn't that.
Yeah,
This is just kind of faking it.
yeah.
And
It's like I have,
you can do this to your heart's content. I like some of the soft edges and the hard edges going together.
yeah.
Anyway, it's just an indication. That's all it is. So,
Well, it's a lot of fun and putting those little light things through, which I haven't done exactly right, but now I have a method I can work on.
yeah. I'm going to keep pushing you.
I know.
We have this on our palette. We have this these colors on our palette. So I'm seeing this, and I'm seeing my horizon line is going about right through there. And I'm going to put in these big columns right here first, I think. And I see that they are a bunch of ellipses, actually. There are a bunch of ellipses on those columns, and they kind of step down. Actually, this column goes lower, so I'm going to make that go lower. I'm going to kind of fake it. And so I have a big column over here, and it starts about there, and then it goes up, and another one, and up. And there's my horizon line. Look, I actually plotted that one pretty good. So there's one column, and the other one is a little bit above it. And then I get to something back here, but I'm going to just go ahead and draw those in. And this little guy, and then I have something happening in this background, which is kind of like, it's this wedge shape right here that's kind of important. And in the middle of all that, this is an important shape here. This shape right here is an important shape. And this whole thing is a shape. It just has different values in it. And so now I want to put this guy in here. And this guy is basically a triangle. He's a kind of a triangle, and it's got a little bit of lift to it. And there's where his foot goes. And this is his other foot. Whoops. And here's his head, this turban or whatever. And his arms kind of going a little forward, but I try to simplify the shapes. So that's my triangle guy. Anyway, so I drew that fairly quickly, and that's all it took. So I'm happy with that design. And once again, I'm going to try to match, because I have those colors on my palette already. I'm going to try to match some of those, and I'm going to paint a lot of this with that palette. I'm not going to care about him. I just want to get some color down. What I do care about is I don't want to paint the, I'm going to paint right through him. So there's a big shape. There's my big shape. And then I'm going to do another shape. I'm going to use that same palette, except I'm going to cool it off. Again, I'm going to use a little I'm going to use a little purple to cool that off a little bit. And I'm going to go right over him again.
Yeah. So when I walked the dog, I was like, okay.
I'm going to leave some light, a shaft of light coming down through here that he's walking into. And while I have that color on my brush, I'm going to start just putting in, and these are all midtones. Everything is a midtone. I want to keep this this color for the tops of those, but I can add a little bit of
Further.
orange to that actually, and I can kind of get a pretty decent. There's one column, here's another column, here's my shaft of light. Here's something going on in the background back here, and I just want to indicate it. I'm just going to indicate it with my big brush. And I see that I have some stone back here or something. And I'm just indicating it. I like using this big brush because it forces me not to add detail.
Second booster is magnified. Right after I have the shot. Wow.
There, I put in some of my big shapes. Yay. I'm going to take a little of that color with a drier brush and just put a little texture in there. Why not? And now I'm going to take some of my cobalt, one of my favorite colors,
Oh boy.
and a clean brush. And I'm just going to tickle the bottom of that. Oh, that was phthalo. Oops. I'm just going to tickle the bottom of this a little bit with that. There we go. That's really all I wanted to do with that, is to add a little bit of that blue coming in. It's kind of cool. So once again, I'm indicating. Now I kind of have to let that dry a little bit. Settle, as we say. Then I can go back and I can start adding my dark midtones, and then I can finally start adding my darks.
She's 70. Oh.
And I'm older than her. I'm exactly.
Different
I want to
colors.
make sure I have time at the end of this to show you the 10 strokes, 5 strokes, 3 strokes.
Oh, yes, please.
I'm going to add a little more of that purple to this, and I'm going to, I'm actually just going to turn this. There's one column, and then I have this other column, and I have some stuff going on in it, some writing or something. I don't know what it is. Anyway.
Orange in here.
And then I have this little guy and this little guy. And some dark something's going on in here.
a lot of planting from your garden.
Well, no wonder you're back. That is true. Right?
No,
Are you bending over to garden?
no, I bring a little chair and I sit there.
Yeah, but you're still doing your own.
Oh, maybe at that time it's like, no. So I have to have a swing. Help him to walk. That was at that time I was like this, helping him to walk.
That's how I would do it.
Oh, yeah, that was bad for a couple of months like that.
More gray.
I noticed for a number of years, there's certain things I couldn't do. If I did them, I was in the worst things or sit on the floor.
I don't know how to get up if I sit too long.
Sit down.
Not things that move.
So a lot of things like this. But I am much better now. There's no.
Is he retired yet?
He's retired. He's getting old.
Getting there.
Oh, yeah, he's home all day. A whole different thing, like he used to. Church,
I think I'm going to take my little Sharpie and draw some of these tiles in here. And they look like they're
Dynamic without killing each other.
More golden.
Run away from home.
You don't have to stay if you have your own space. Oh, you know, I just read a book about a woman who. Anyway, so she just slowly started.
just giving this a little texture down here to rough it up.
Oh, and he never thought about it.
And pretty soon I can put in my little guy in there. He's pretty dark. And when I do these guys like this figure, I'm not going to use it full strength yet. I'm going to use it. I'm going to use it somewhere at my half strength, or because if I make a mistake, then I can correct it a lot easier. So that's not really my dark yet. And I can see I have a little foot going there and one attached to his. Now I can make it darker if I'm happy with that drawing, which is actually what I'm doing. And I can also make this a little bit more with form, because for instance, that arm coming up and this shoulder, I can do a little bit more that way. Now I've got some actual form to it. I think what I might do is I might just go around this so I can keep that white. Yeah, it kind of worked, but not really. I was trying to avoid the gouache, but I'm going to use the gouache just a little bit. I do want to still add some blue down here because I think it makes it kind of cool. And I'm going to add a little bit of that back up in here just to connect it with this shape down here. I've got this, whatever that is back there. I'm going to make it that blue color. And this is going to accentuate the light coming, that shaft of light coming through there. I'm just going to put a dot, put a little dot right there. There we go. And I see that I do have a little dot there and maybe a little highlight there. That pretty much for me, little dot. Is that darker or lighter? I'm gonna make it darker. These are little things that you can catch after. Yeah. After the fact. So anyway, so there's my interpretation of this guy. And I'm actually going to, because I want to take the time to do this challenge as if this hasn't been challenging.
Okay, let's see.
What more could you ask for? We got 7 paintings done in a 3-hour workshop. Anyway, there you go. Always looks better when you take the tape off, huh? So you've got plenty of stuff to try. This is the park bench thing. It's pretty simple. This is a little more complicated. This is negative painting. This is atmosphere, which is, that's one of the more fun ones. That's this one, which is just atmosphere. I'm retaping this because there's something that I really want to show you besides the flowers, or besides that thing, is I want to bring this guy up because I want to show you how I did that. And we've done some, but we really haven't done a lot of negative painting. So let me bring this one up. And this one will go, oh, that's the eye. Okay, I think it's this one. No,
We're gonna do the 1, 2, 3 flowers.
yes. But no, I'm showing you this one really quick
Okay.
because we have time. I think I can do it all. I want to show you this one because I've done this one several times. In fact, maybe even you have, but it's well worth doing. So the first thing I want to do, and as I said, I've done it. I've done this several times, but it's always kind of cool how it works.
Oh, we're doing the flower.
That one, you know. And that would be this guy. So I see I have a bunch of yellow in here and I have a bunch of green in here. So I'm not even going to clean my water. I'm just going to go for the yellow, and I'm going to use the bright yellow if I can actually get anything on here. And I'm just going to go like this. I'm going to leave a couple little white things left, but I want to get that yellow in there. And here's going to be my flower. There's the center of my flower right there. Okay. And then I'm going to just add a little blue to that. And then I'm going to start making a green. I'm going to make some green just to go in there. And this is my underpainting. I'm going to accentuate that, the other edge of that, the yellow part of the inside of the sunflower. That's what I'm trying to say. Anyway, I'm just going to let that, and this can go out to the edge if you want. Doesn't really make any difference. Anyway, this is kind of my start. And I don't have green on here, so I'll just make my own. I'll just make a little darker green, so I just can put that in there. But that's kind of a mint green. I just want to make sure I have enough. I'm going to accentuate this a little bit. I want to make sure I have enough going around this edge right here where this yellow is. Anyway, that's my start. And I can do whatever I want to do, but I want to blow that dry and show you real quick. More blue in there. Anyway, I'm going to take my, I'm just going to take something dark. I'm actually going to take my Payne's Gray, and I'm looking at this flower and I see I could draw out some key petals. That's a key petal. This is a key petal. This one for sure. Oh, this is still a little wet, but that's okay. You'll get the idea. So that's dry enough that I can start doing this with it. And I do want to start doing some negative painting. Okay, so it's really... I just want to show you enough of this that you get the idea. It's too wet. I am just looking at my reference. That's all I'm doing. And I'm just trying to get something that feels right. And I am going to go back and I'm going to try to define that flower a little bit. And I'm going to try to keep these whatever you call those thistles or something.
That's really
Active.
beautiful, the way that's working with the gray and the pale green, those little thistly leafy things.
Yeah, thistly. Yep. That's what they
Good.
are, thistles.
That's really beautiful there on the right side of the painting in particular.
Well, that's basically what I wanted to show you. That I'm actually just surrounding this with stuff. And I know that light is coming from up here someplace, so I'm going to make it lighter. And I'm going to try to define some of these petals as I go down here. And you can see that most of those petals are on the left side.
Mhm. Where's my T-square?
See, so you can make the stuff start to appear. I didn't draw this out when I started, but at least you can see where I'm trying to go with it. And I'll just let this stuff blur out. Take a Kleenex. Blur that a little bit. Reduce that guy a little bit, make a little bit more mysterious, I guess, is what you might call it. Anyway, if I do this, then I can go back and I can actually start to do my, I think that's got to be orange in there. So I'm going to make that, I'm going to make this pretty orange in here and leave a little bit to the imagination. And I can also do a little bit of this. And then I can go back and I can start. Now I'm establishing that circle. Now I can go back and I know I've got a bunch of these guys going on over here, but I'm trying to do this in a hurry. And now I can start, while that's still wet, I can start putting in some of these darks.
What was going on?
and designing at the same time. Always trying to do that. So now I've got this green going on in here. I can let that kind of fuzz out a little bit.
I don't know if the curator wants it or not.
Anyway, I hope you guys can see that you can really quickly, maybe this is the best example of doing something quick. It's not the greatest art, but it's the best example. There you go. Anyway, let me dry that. Okay, let's see what we got. This is probably the fastest one of these that I've done, but at least you get the idea of doing it. And yes, I can go back with my Sharpie again, and I can put some dots in, which actually are kind of cool. It's kind of cool with the Sharpie. Anyway, I got to wait for that to dry a little bit to do much more with it, but I hope you guys get the idea of what I was trying to do. If that makes sense. I'm going to make this leaf a little bit more mysterious. Anyway, does that make sense? I hope it makes sense. I need to add actually a little bit of this yellow back into this. I should make it more gouache. But anyway, that's going to sparkle that up. Yes, it's sparkling it up a little bit. Anyway, very, very, very quickly indication of that. So, okay, last thing. Anyway, last thing. Let me bring this up and see if I can actually make this work. Let me see, what did I do with them? I hid them over here. Oh no, there they are. Okay, cool. Let's do this one. Okay. So what Andy was trying to do, and what I try to do too, is if I took 10 strokes to make this painting, so, and I'm not going to draw it. So I'm making a, I can't even see it. I'll just make a daisy. And so I'm going to mix up a color. I'm going to mix up a daisy color. Can you believe I have not changed my water yet? You guys are slave drivers. Anyway, so I'm going to make a daisy, and this counts as one of my strokes. I'm not lifting my brush. There, that's number one. So that looks like a flower, huh?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay. Number two would be, I'm gonna have this green left on my palette, so I'm gonna make a stem. Okay. And now I'm gonna make some more green, so that's number two. Gonna make some more green. And I'm going to add a leaf. And I'm going to try not to pick up my brush. I'm going to try to do a big leaf shape. Oops, I picked up my brush. That's 3. That's 4. Here's another leaf. I'm not picking up my brush. Or at least I'm really trying not to. Okay, there's another leaf. And so that's 5. And so let's see, what do I need? That is a sunflower. So I'm going to mix up some orange, I think. And I'm going to do this right here. And so that's 6. I'm going to mix up some brown. And that will be my 7th stroke. So I can use that down here. And that's 7th. This is 8. I want to put it under there. And this would be 9. I'm going to make a little darker green. And so this would be 9. And then I want to do 10, which will be that. Okay, there's a flower and 10 strokes, right? Yes.
Yeah.
Okay,
I
that
think I'm
looks.
the only one who's, I'm the only one who's not muted.
I'm sorry.
I'm the only one who's not muted.
Oh,
Everybody
you guys
muted.
can unmute yourself so I know if you're doing this. So there's a flower in 10 strokes. So I didn't need any more than 10 strokes. And then I'm just using this brush is okay. So now I'm going to try it in 5 strokes. Well, this is going to get challenging, isn't it? Okay, there's 1. There's 2. I need a timeout. That paint wasn't enough. It doesn't count. Okay, there's 3. Here's 4. And here's 5. So that's 5 strokes. So it still looks like a flower, right?
Mhm.
Yes?
Yes.
Okay. You can do this easier with, I think he was using a rose, but anyway, I'm going to send you the links to that workshop anyway, so you'll have 5 links to watch.
Roses are hard.
Well, that's where I saw this. Okay, now I'm going to try 3. Yikes. It'd be easier with a round brush too. I'm finding that out. Okay, there's my flower. And this is going to be my green. I gotta have green, so I'm just gonna do pink. And then I'm gonna just continue up and do my leaf. I think you guys are getting the idea that you don't need as many brush strokes as you think. And so now I'm going to do my orange, except I'm going to, so I've only got one stroke left. So, and I want you to see that it still looks like, not as complete, but it still looks like a daisy or a flower, or sunflower. So anyway, that's 10, 5, and 3, and it still looks passable. I can tell what it is. Anyway, does that make sense?
Yep.
So that's the economy of brush strokes. So this is 10, this is 5, and this is 3. So I thought that was a pretty good lesson. And of course, I could have made that orange a little deeper, but anyway, I think you get the idea. So in review, I'm glad even though it was hacked out, we got to do that one. There's some we didn't get to do, but I think they were all helpful. Here it's just, and your master universe, and you can use white paint, you can use a colored pencil, you can use Sharpies, you can use pastel, but the basic thing is watercolor. And if you noticed, most of it was done with this brush on this size paper and this size brush for the detail. So we could do anything we wanted. And this was a change up. So we started getting a little more literal. So it's about the timing of watercolor and what do I paint first? What do I paint second? I wanted that rim light, so I painted the turtle first. Here I wiped it while it was still damp. I wiped it, and then I went back with a color on my brush and lifted. So it wasn't just lifting back to white paper, it was actually coloring it at the same time. Here, the drawing took a little more time, 2 minutes maybe, but everything I think is in the right place. I invented this light that he's walking toward. It really wasn't in the photo, but it goes from dark to dark midtone to midtone to light midtone to light. And everything seems to be in proportion. See that shape right there denoting those columns? That's like the flower. It's one shape. And this flower is nothing more than negative painting. So it's actually looks better now than I thought, but it's just a negative painting where I put down that first wash, helter skelter, just got the paper covered with paint, and then went back later on and defined the flower. And this was that, that reminds me, that was that bullseye. And this was the lift after the reflections and we're done. So you didn't have to leave that and paint this and paint that and then paint this, paint. We could just lift that later on. And this we added quite a bit of too, because the whole photo was just that. So I added another figure, added all the stuff around it. And this was a pretty good little interesting test. So anyway, that's my story and I'm sticking to it. So you can unmute yourselves now and yell at me. I'll stop the share and go back to you guys. Oh, look at this. They're all so quiet. They're all painting.
I'm done.
They're all having lunch. They're all said, I give up. So John, tell me what you thought of this as you're being a first timer.
These 15 minutes, yeah, they're excellent. They're excellent. They make you just, go for it, right? I mean, I think a lot of times you try to overthink watercolor, So I like the fact that you're pushing and you're learning, right? The timing of watercolor really quick.
Yeah, you're getting a lot of painting miles and you're getting a lot of different ways to paint in a short amount of time.
And I guess you mentioned the Andy quite often. And when I took his class, I was painting, full sheets, half sheets.
Yeah.
He said one thing. It's like when you do a full sheet and you get to the end and you make a mistake, it's soul crushing.
Yeah.
I
Oh,
stopped
man.
painting full sheets. I started painting quarter sheets.
Well,
Yeah.
what also happens is, that you screwed up about 20% into the painting.
Right.
How could I have done that? Because, and what Andy does and I do, it's, I just call it no-tone studies. Dark, light, mid-tone, the big shapes. And if the big shapes are right and the right value and they're arranged correctly, or I don't know if there is a correct, but they're designed well, then you're way, way, way ahead of the game.
Right.
So you can always spend your time putting in the detail, but if I would never paint anything, or at least now I've screwed up enough stuff. I would never paint anything that wasn't drawn well or designed well. And so for me, that's a blessing because I have to do my homework. And then when it comes time to paint, all I have to do is paint. I can get a beer, I can get a drink, I can turn on some music, and then I could just paint with confidence because I've already done the heavy lifting.
Mhm.
So anyway.
Then I guess the last thing I would add is that by doing these small studies, if you are doing this and getting ready to do a final painting,
Uh-huh.
it gives you an idea where to go and whether this idea, this subject is going to work on a
Yes.
much bigger scale.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a waste of time.
And I don't have to have a perfect photo because I know I can add stuff, subtract stuff. I can change the lighting. I can change the season. I can change the atmosphere. I can do all those things.
It's cool.
I'm starting to find that it's almost better if I don't have a really fabulous photo, because if the photo's really fabulous, I'm trying to imitate it, and you never can. Oh, I can't anyway. And then
That's
I'm
why, yeah,
disappointed.
that's why I was telling John before, taking photos out of the car window was
Yeah.
fabulous because I got the scene without the detail.
Yeah.
And for watercolor, the most powerful thing is suggestion. So I highly recommend Nita Engel's book.
Right.
So what else was I sending you besides the Andy links and the Chi Chung Wee,
Lena S.
the what?
Lena, whatever her name was, Lena S. or Lena's.
Oh, yeah, that's the Andy stuff.
Oh,
That's a 5-parter. Oh, the CWA demo. The best demo I've seen.
Yeah.
Well, he's very patient. The workshop will drive you nuts because, and thank God it's, you got to fast forward because he has to wait for people to do stuff. It's a workshop. It's a 4-day workshop or something.
Oh, gosh.
Anyway, so you can fast forward through the through the stuff and you can just watch it and you can see his hands start to move. And then you can start to play it again. So, and I think there wasn't any equipment that we were talking about, was there? I don't think so. Palette.
No.
Oh, I was going to send you that palette. Are you familiar with that palette, John? That
The one with the O-ring, no.
Yeah.
I was kind of interested. What, you know, I've
I'll
looked
send
at.
you, I'll send you an Amazon link.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they come in all sizes, and they have multiple. You can get 24 wells if you want. So anyway, they're pretty cool.
Cool.
Okay, guys. Did anybody post anything to Cluster that I should look at?
No, I haven't photographed it yet.
You want to do that later when you get finished? I sent you guys all a Cluster link, correct?
Yeah.
Right.
Lisa and Jared, they're still working hard. Look at that. Look at them. And they're just going forward, going for it. So is it a thumbs up or thumbs down? Did you guys get something out of this?
Oh, definitely.
Okay, cool.
Yes.
Okay, I will see you guys next month. Maybe,
Nice to meet you.
hopefully. Oh, you want to hold something up, Jerry, or are you waiting for it to dry? I can't hear you. You're muted.
Yeah. You don't look
I
muted,
was
but
trying to mute it, but I really feel like I got a lot of work done. Look at all that.
I know.
Wow.
Isn't that amazing? Here, let me, yeah. Oh, wow.
yeah.
You go, girl.
See, I made a folder just for you, Joe. See, this is my Joe Seabury. And any workshop that I take from you, I put
God, love you.
all my things in here.
Oh, great.
I've got the